This picks up where my Christianity video left off. At this point, I had rejected Christianity, but was still a sort of agnostic theist. I still thought in a dualistic way and believed in some sort of an afterlife. Within a year or two, I decided this could not be right. The anthropomorphic God was way too human-like. It also was sort of like claiming knowledge of God, and I had rejected that concept with Christianity. So at that point, I was more like an agnostic deist. More abstract concepts of God lacked the anthropomorphic quality, so I was okay with that. I investigated various New Age type things, including witchcraft. However, my skeptical inquiry always turned up negative results, so I never believed any of those things. I was still in my early 20s when I became a true agnostic. I had seen no evidence of gods or anything supernatural, so I concluded that I didn't know. Maybe we can't know. And God's existence seemed like a 50-50 chance to me. I still thought with the haze of dualism and believed in some sort of unknown afterlife. Then, when I was 26, I was technically an atheist, because I thought God was extremely unlikely. I still believed in afterlife and dualism, though, and I considered myself to be an agnostic. This was because I did not yet understand the negative proof fallacy. Finally, in my late 20s, I rejected the concept of God, afterlife, and dualism. I do not believe in God because there is not any evidence for someone to even know of the concept of God. Therefore, it had to have been made up. The chances of these made-up gods coincidentally existing was infinitesimal. We also have a universe where if you postulate it with God, there is no difference to when you postulate it without God. The concept of God does nothing. Until there is some sort of evidence, logically we must conclude there is no God. There is no such thing as an empirical absolute, but negative proof is fallacious. We now know a lot about the brain. So, if there was a soul, we know that nothing that is me would survive my death. Therefore, I had to conclude that dualism failed. I then adopted my monist point of view. Without dualism, afterlife is impossible. Some of you may think that this should be the end. I disagree. It should not be the end, and it isn't either. Atheism is not a destination. It is not something to aim for. It barely has any meaning. It only means not believing in God. That's it. That is just part of the journey. It would be quite silly to remain in this state, though some do, I hear. So where does one go from here? Where did I go from there, you may be wondering? This is when you reject all beliefs. Some may say that it is just false beliefs that you reject. Well, if something is true, then it isn't a belief. There are facts which are true, and then there are beliefs which people accept with no evidence or logical argument of any kind. This task of rejecting beliefs I accomplished only about a year and a half ago or so, the end of 2008 sometime. You reject all things for which there is no evidence, empirical or logical. This includes the vast majority of conspiracy theories, and, of course, 100% of the ones that the whack jobs believe in. It also includes alternative medicine, alien abduction, urban legends, all junk science, objective morality, non-illusionary free will, etc., etc. Then, when you discover you were mistaken about something, through empirical evidence or logical reasoning. You acknowledge that you were mistaken, and then change your view to fit the facts, which of course you probably learned to do before you were an atheist, but it bears repeating here. This is rationalism. When you no longer have any beliefs, you are at a point where you will just be refining it, as I put it. This is when you work on the controlling of emotion. This is quick and easy to get started. However, actually doing it is a lifelong thing with many ups and downs. You can never completely control your emotions, and they will still be able to interfere with your reasoning to some degree. However, perceiving reality as it actually is should allow you to control your emotions and use them only in personal sorts of situations where they are needed. You can then keep all reasoning as close to being free of emotion as possible. The exception, of course, are decisions where the end goal is based on emotion, either yours or that of other people. Deciding to get married is an example. You arrive at it logically, despite the emotional motivations and objectives. There are also quick, easy examples. For instance, deciding which pleasurable leisure activity you will do at a particular time. You may logically arrive at this decision, even though the criteria is completely emotional. The main idea is to experience emotions normally as any human would, but not allow it to cloud your reasoning. This sort of point of maintenance is something I reached just now, really, mere days before I made my Catholicism video. This is the true goal of the journey. While atheism is the rational position on God, it is not a goal. It is simply a side effect of the journey of rationalism. In future videos, I will address in detail many, if not all, issues touched on here, plus other things as well.